opportunity to bask in the reflected glory of four great American opera stars, Martina Arroyo, Grace Bumbry, RERI GRIST, and SHIRLEY VERRETT. These four ladies are four of the world's most prominent opera stars, and here they are, all amazingly gathered together in List Hall. All four of you emerged at about the same time in Met history. It was part of an explosion of African-American talent that included the four of you, and Leontine Price, and so many more. Mrs. Arroyo, you said first to Leontine Price, at least you're quoted as saying when you met for the first time, "I'm the other one, honey."
That story has gotten around in various forms. It sort of became a standard joke because so many people mistake me for Miss Price. Even today in the airport, people came up and said, "Miss Price, you look so lovely." At this point, I don't stop and say, "No, I'm not Miss Price, I'm Miss Bumbry," but... It's an honor to be called Miss Price. Let me tell you, I considered it an honor all my life.
Maybe we'll start with you, Ms. Verrett. Why then? Why all of a sudden this explosion of extraordinary talent?
I think that every generation has an output of wonderful voices. And if you're just speaking about the voices, they still are around.
Is it harder then, do you think, to make a career than it is now, or harder now than it was then? That's a question for anybody.
I think it is, in some ways, more difficult for young people, African American, any background, to make a career today.
Yes.
There are 100,000 very good lyric sopranos out there. The schools train quite well in the United States and are getting even better in Central Europe. England has some wonderful schools. They put out some good products. But there are less opera houses, less jobs for young people, I think, today. I mean, I know so many who go from audition to audition. Some of them make careers out of doing competitions because they can't get jobs. And it's not that they're not good enough. And also, I think today our whole society is so fast. Everything is geared at move and make it now, make it big. So many kids are forced into doing things that they shouldn't be doing. I don't think a tenor should have to sing Werther and Radames his first year in an opera house.
Well, I would like to just add something to that. We have many more opera companies and in the United States now than we have ever had anywhere. There are regional houses. Almost every large city has its own opera house, the way it was in Europe at one time. And it does give an opportunity for the young people today. And interestingly enough, it gives more opportunity to the non-white singers than we ever had before. But inversely, this is very interesting because it's not translating into the big houses anymore. But at least on the regional levels, almost anywhere I go, I can see many African Americans or Asians and so forth working today.
Well, in addition to what RERI and Shirley have said, I don't think that the big record companies are doing a great service to the public or to the art form by giving us stars before they've done the legwork, before they've trained properly, and before they've had a chance to make the mistakes and grow into the great singers that we're told they are. We're fooled into thinking that so-and-so is the greatest voice of the century and he's only sung 2 performances of something in Marseille. This is a disservice to the public. It's a disservice to those young people who are struggling like crazy to make careers and try to find a place where they can grow and where they'll be allowed to make mistakes. I don't think the Met is a place to make your mistakes, even though people will say, well, that's how you did it. Didn't make it right. And I think I might have made fewer mistakes had I sung some of those performances in smaller houses before singing them at the Met.
Could I just ask a question? Because I don't live in the States, I don't really know what the scene is, but I would like to know where are these opera companies and do they have them year-round?
Many of them are year-round. They have a regular season.
So at least 9 months?
At least, well, I would say 7 months. They're shorter seasons. I'm very, very proud of what the NEA and organizations like that have done, because what is happening now is that you cannot go to Europe as you used to do when you were younger. You cannot do
those
that.
doors are
I mean,
closing.
now that the wall is down in Germany and so forth, those people, those Easterners say, give us a chance, even when they're not prepared. I'm sure maybe I speak for all of my colleagues, my friends here, that I never had it in my head once to say, I'm going to be a star. I said, I'm going to do the work.
That's right.
And the work will get me there or it won't.
Don't you think that perhaps that and when we started to sing, that it was also a great love for singing, much more so than making money, for me at least.
But
It was
young
about
people
the
have love
voice.
to sing now. The young people out, they wouldn't do what they're doing if they didn't love this thing.
Well,
They
let me-
have to
But
love
I
it.
think we love,
Don't
at
you?
least I loved it more. Perhaps you didn't.
But you know, Grace, you have a very good point there. I feel that because of this pressure, this unending, this unrelenting pressure of being a star, making it tomorrow, yesterday, not even tomorrow, yesterday. And this also is permeating the athletic world. I mean, the players, all they want to do is dunk. You know what I'm saying?
Even when they're
they don't
playing
have
football.
and get 10. I see it every day in my classes where they, may I have this audition? No, you may not. You're not ready for it. Oh, well, but you know, I'm just going to go for practice. Don't practice on me if I'm your adjudicator. Get the part, know what you're doing, and then come to me. Don't come and just, because they're so
But you know, Shirley,
in a hurry.
aren't we also a little bit at fault? When I say we, I mean the school system. I don't think the universities are turning out people as well prepared as they should be. They don't know the languages as well as they should know them. You can't put all the blame on the profession. You can't put all the blame on the young people if they're not offered coaching. You know, coaching where you go phrase by phrase through a role and find out who you are and what you're about and why you're there, and all of those things that help you form the kernel of your artistry. We're not giving that to them because we're turning out people in the universities en masse. It's so expensive. You get 1 hour a week with a teacher. You don't learn how to have a career like ours with 1 hour a week's work.
When you four were starring here at the Met, in some cases you sang in the same operas, you recorded sometimes together, sometimes you were rivals for the same roles. Were there any special bonds formed between you in those days?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I would say yes and no to that. Well, I would say no. For instance, in comparison with these three ladies, my roles were primarily in a different category.
Yes.
I was singing primarily Strauss, Mozart, Donizetti, Rossini. We did ballo together, but I don't think you and I have ever sung together, Grace. So it was another, I wasn't out there with the big ladies, I mean the big voices, you
Yeah,
know,
thanks.
coming out there. It was,
Martina said something.
Martina, you look wonderful.
But you all look wonderful. But there were times, of course, when three of you all sang Lady Macbeth. Well, I mean, you sang roles that crossed over, the three dramatic sopranos and mezzo-sopranos.
Yes.
Did that cause any special frictions, any special joys, any special moments?
Well, I can only speak for myself. It didn't. I used, all of my life, I tried, I mean, as well as one can try, to just be, how can I say, be in competition with myself. And if it was time for me to sing a certain thing or to do a certain thing, even to the way I used to have my hair all shaved off at a certain moment, people would look at me and say, I always did things in my own way when I felt it was time for me to do it. So I didn't have time to worry about who, I didn't even really know. I didn't know. I didn't know you had recorded Lady Macbeth.
I haven't.
No,
Oh,
she
you
recorded
haven't,
it.
but
She
you have
sang.
sung it. That's right. The point is, I think that when you go about your own business and, you know, look to yourself and be in, if there is any competition, being in competition with yourself, or just paying attention to what you are doing within your own career, yes, you see what is happening. We became friends. Grace and I have sung together. More times, I think, than Martina. And Martina and I.
Well, we
have
did
sung.
those concerts
And we did
together.
the concerts
We
together.
did lots of
Martina and I
concerts
sang
together as
together at
well.
Covent Garden. Remember that?
And
we,
also,
from
with
a long time
Bernstein
ago,
and
we were
things like
always very, very good colleagues.
Yes.
And RERI and I go back. We only did a recording together.
right.
It's like anything. It's just not only the African Americans because we're sitting here, but after I started doing some of the soprano roles, I didn't get a chance to be with my very good friend Montserrat Caballé anymore. And it's just because she was there, I was, you know, and I feel it's the same with us.
Well, you know,
Also-
Martina and I started off together, actually, with the Met auditions. way back in 1958, whatever. and we've been friends ever since. I mean, we did a lot of Aidas together. I remember very well in London, the wonderful times we had there. We'd cook meals afterwards and that sort of stuff.
Stop, Grace.
And no, it was. And then we did Don Carlos's together, and remember that in Rome.
Oh,
yeah. So it's been a
when they had
wonderful
the strike
time.
in Rome and we had to almost walk to the theater. Do you remember that?
I remember? The newspapers were full of it that we had gone on strike.
My mother called and said, "What are you making Grace do?"
And she was always the troublemaker.
Then there's one other thing. You know, we are only human beings. None of us has only lived for this.
Oh, I did.
Both.
Sorry.
But you know, we also learn from each other. I don't know if Riri remembers at a rehearsal of Ballowing Mascara saying to me, "What are you reacting so quickly for when they call Renato's name? Wait, let everybody else react." Do you remember this?
No,
and
I don't.
then you react. I've used it ever since.
Oh, good.
And because if I tell my students about it, what you learn from your colleagues. It's
True,
and
that's true.
when Grace and I were doing Aida together, and I would grab her arm and she used to pull it away like something slimy had touched her. And I really wanted to get up and slug her. But it was so effective on stage, and she continued doing it, whether consciously or not. And I continued.
Oh, it was conscious.
And I stepped on your toe by accident.
But I always saw you coming, honey.
They
But
acted
it's
as if
amazing how much we really take from each other.
Right, that's
Surely,
it.
your Atsuchena is still from Covent Garden. I used to go out and, as you know, and sit in that rehearsal hall and in the theater and watch you do your first Atsuchena. I was watching how is she so consistent in the character all the time. You know, the way you walked and everything like that. There's a bond. There's also a respect and a love for each other. You love a beautiful voice. You love another artist who does well.
Friendly competition. It was not. That was not. I'm gonna get her tonight. No, it wasn't that.
Except
kind
the
of
time you kicked me in the shin, but that's all right.
They make jokes because this goes back. I mean, am I
Goes
correct
back,
in
yes.
saying that? Did you tell me this, Grace, or was it you, Martina, about the jokes? Because they like to tell jokes, right? You have numbers.
She
Number
has the numbers.
19.
She had
Number
the paper
26.
with the number. She just give me the number, and we'd laugh. And people thought we had lost our minds. We really do go
this is
back
an
a long
ongoing
time.
You see, that was saving your voice. You
Yes.
see, you just write them out.
Is there one production that stands out, not so much as being the best, but the most fun that you ever had? Or recordings that were the most fun?
Fun. Oh, that's
I don't care if it was
Almost
the best.
all of them.
All of them.
Almost all.
You see, that's a color
The
tour.
joy. Maybe, but fun.
Grace.
It's the love of the music, the joy of taking the challenge and the risk of trying to make music and theater. And really not being concerned about what they're writing about you.
What is this thing of fun?
Yes.
Well,
But
I
I mean,
like
what is
that.
fun when you're
What can-
singing? What is
The joy.
you're singing Lady Macbeth? Is that fun?
No, I
Yes.
You're singing
No.
Salome? Is that fun?
Yes.
Oh, darling, I
Yes,
always
it
laughed
is.
and had fun when you
No
sang Lady
wonder.
Macbeth.
Yes. Yes, Grace.
With
What
yours,
is-
I didn't. I was more in tears.
Tears, I don't blame you. I don't
Grace,
blame you.
what do I mean by fun? I'm not talking about ha ha ha, laugh laugh.
Well, this is what I want to know.
It is the joy of recreating.
When I have fun, it's like after the performance, I can put my feet up, or I go to Martina's house or to Shirley's or whoever, and have a relaxed moment. That's having fun. But when I'm in between that 8 o'clock and that whatever, then that's for me a job.
Well,
That
let me
is work. I'm
let me ask-
thinking the whole time, and my mind is on doing those dynamic markings, those tempo changes, and there's no time for fun unless I'm singing
no, Grace, you're
Carmen.
absolutely-
The fun part, I think, is in the rehearsal period,
Yes.
actually more so than the performance.
I believe that's probably going to be true. I think you said it very accurately when you said that's joy and not necessarily
Joy.
fun.
Yeah.
It is joy.
But I was thinking more of the fun and games around it, as the
This is
two of
what
you
I
in Rome
thought.
during
This
the
is what I
strike,
thought you
and
were referring to.
some of the moments after you had served Annetta, for example, Miss Grist, when you saw Miss Schwarzkopf off stage, those are the performances I'm thinking about where they were fun putting together, above and beyond the joy of the moment. And I know that in your career you've had a lot of those.
Don't look at me.
Don't you?
I had fun.
Well, let's go back. Let's go back to the question that all four of you teach, coach, have pupils, students, protégés. Can you give us a glimpse into the future as you see it? Is it bright? Is it difficult? What propels these young people into seeking a career in this most difficult profession in terms of getting a head start?
You know, singing is something quite special.
Ms. Bumbry.
There is this sensation inside you. Just the fact that you are able to bring out this marvelous sound, a sound that nobody else has. And to have that sensation is worth more than one could possibly pay.
If a young person doesn't have that, they're not going to make the sacrifices and do all you have to do to have any kind of career. I think that it's there in many, many young people, even before the idea of making it. That feeling, that glorious feeling of, gosh, I can sing. Isn't that nice? Isn't that wonderful? I don't understand anyone working tables, sacrificing and not eating, paying a fortune to other people to teach them how to sing, and they have nothing, if they don't have that basic love and desire to sing because they can sing.
I've been teaching now, this is my 5th year, and a great number of the students have that love. The others, they're making the same mistakes. I'm saying these things day after day, week after week, year after year, and there are still 30% of you who will still stand up in front of me to sing. And it's as if you have forgotten, not everything, that's not fair, but so many essential things. Now, I'm not saying all of them that way, because there are a few who are really will make it. But I think maybe that's it. Many called, few chosen.
Yes.
Exactly, and it is those few, and those of us who listen to auditions, who listen to young people come out to perform, but you can sense where does the exception lie. When Martina sang in Zurich for Dr. Graf, this was, sure she was young, but this was absolutely unique. And you will know that.
Everything that you're all saying is true. I only said that those who even go for it, who have to start with the love of enjoying, of singing, as Grace said, that sensation of singing, because you just don't do what you have to do to have even a minimal career under the best of circumstances without certain sacrifices. Of course, even those who are involved and those who have that special something might not have that special voice, or they just might be at the wrong place at the wrong time. They might not get the right manager. There might not be the need for, there'll always be a need for a zerbinetta, but there might not be the need for just one more lyric soprano.
Well, Ms. Arroyo, Ms. Bumbry, Ms. Grist, Ms. Verrett, this has been extraordinary. I think everybody here can see it's not just voice, it's extraordinary intelligence and dedication and soul that makes a great star. We've been gifted today with the presence of all four of you today. I'm honored. It was a great joy speaking with you. Thank you very, very, very much. This is Alan.